I think, was a large arena for having jousts in. I've told you a bit about it. You've had a chance to see it. Have you got any questions about? Yeah.
Yeah. Is it actually possible that they might have had jousting and maybe sort of fights inside it?
They certainly had jousts at Windsor. I thought they could have them inside. This building, which is 200 foot across, could have been an arena. But the great expert we got on jousting here says it's not quite big enough. I think if you had two horsemen lined up with armour galloping towards each other, about 100 foot was perhaps not enough to get up speed and get up weight to meet in the middle.
How big would jousting ground actually have to be?
Well, we're investigating that at the moment. I think it may have to be something like, 250 or 300 feet. It might be quite a serious length of distance. But we're looking into that. This has prompted that research, and we're following it through.
Was there originally in the past, was there a moat round this castle? And if there was, have they rebuilt it?
Well, the big thing about Windsor, it's on top of a hill. Windsor's on a very big hill, which is why you see it from all directions when you approach it. You see the castle on top of the hill. So to an extent, it didn't need a moat. It slopes away towards the park, it slopes away towards the town. Behind me on the riverside, it slopes right the way down to the River Thames. But actually up on top here, there probably was a moat around the outside. And certainly between us and the mound at the moment, there was a big moat round there. And the geophysics has just shown us the edge of that moat. But in general, it didn't need a wet moat because it had these big dry slopes all the way around.
Were there any other medieval buildings of this time with such a large roof span at all?
What a nasty question. I don't think there were, because, I mean, there were great halls. I mean, the castle had several great halls in. I mean, one of the biggest halls in Europe was actually Westminster Hall. The King's Great Hall in Westminster had an enormous roof over it, but that was still much, much smaller than this round table. Ely Octagon has got, or York Chapter House have all got big medieval roofs over them. They're nothing like this size. So to roof a building of 200 foot diameter would have been an enormous enterprise.
Is it possible that as well as jousting, they've had things like gambling that they've had feasts on special occasions in there?
I think the real answer is they would have had feasting, and they might have had dancing and jugglers and other performances. That is probably more likely what the building would have been used for, rather than jousting or tournaments. Yeah.
Do you know exactly why Edward II decided to give up on this project and call the Knights Garter instead?
Now that's a really sticky question. The suggestion is that the reason he set it up was he was going to fight this war in France, and he wanted to gather a body of knights together. Gather 300 knights who were going to gather together, loyal knights who could take to France and fight with. And that was the purpose of initiating the Order of the Round Table. When it actually came to it, and he came back from those wars after the Cressy campaign, he didn't need to gather 300 knights around him, but he did want to reward his loyal band of knights who'd fought with him. And so the Garter was much more about looking after his close companions, founding an order for them, rather than this sort of big calling everyone in to battle.
Wasn't Windsor Castle here at the time?
Yes, it was. Now that's a very interesting, another interesting question. Of course, there's two bits to Windsor. There's the great mound behind us with a tower on top of it. There's the lower ward, which had the King's Palace in it, and that's what they're just uncovering at the moment. And then there was the upper ward, which had other buildings behind us. So it was a very big castle and did have lots of buildings. The assumption is that there was enough space up here to put the round table.
Apparently it went through that building as well, so...
Yes, because that building, it's actually got, well, it's got a date on it up there. That's 1829. The medieval range was added onto by George IV. He actually rebuilt all of this castle in the 1820s. And that's what most of this pile behind us is part of that 1820s building works. When this was a building site, all the sort of rubble and mess they created was thrown down in the middle. And that's what... Yes. So that's all mostly modern material. Yes.
If the round building went through that wall there, would there have been another wall where
with the original castle? Which makes
Yes, there was a wall behind it. Probably much fewer buildings behind it. So it's a much smaller building. These were mostly built. These were actually mostly built on to build corridors in front of the series of rooms behind.
How many guards would there be on the outside of the castle and the inside of the castle?
I really don't know. I think probably 40 or 50 or 60, probably quite a number of people. There's a lot of wall to patrol, so I think they would have had quite a number. Probably more than they have today. Guarding
No, they
it.
have policemen with machine guns.
And they do have policemen with machine guns, which might be rather difficult if you ran up against them.
Is it possible that he changed from the Knights of the Round Table to the Knights of the Garter? Because if you have the Knights of the Garter, you've actually got a known symbol, whereas a Knight of the Round Table could get confused with King Arthur's Round Table. So you could get a real mess if you talk to somebody about the Round Table, they could think about King Arthur and then get horribly confused.
That is a possibility, yes. And well, the Garter was certainly much more distinct. That's right.
And it could have been Gather, Garter.
Yes.
Could have been fancy.
Well, it was a garter, like today. It was actually a garter that you put round. You could actually put it on your
rugby
you could
socks.
tie it on top of your armour. You could actually take a garter and tie it onto you.
Would all the guards in the past be wearing things like that?
No, that's a relatively modern ceremonial
They would have had
uniform.
round heads and
I mean, I
that
think they've looked like this for probably 250 years or so. But the earlier guards would have had a different costume or armour.
Could this area have actually been used as like an archery range to train longbowmen?
It could have been, yes. Though I suspect they'd have done that outside. You probably would have had special butts in the fields outside for doing it. And there's quite a lot of land in the park behind us.
Yeah, because there's always the danger some royalty's going to walk out with them. So.
There is, so that's why I think you normally fired at earth butts, so you wouldn't shoot anyone on the other side. Well, that's a very good set of questions there.
Yes, they've done well.
Have you looked down the trench yet?
Yes, just about. We've seen the
You
different
have?
layers that were
Right.
Yeah, before that.
Well, what you must, and have you seen the other one yet? The hall?
No, we haven't.
Oh, right. Well, that's very exciting because we think we've actually got the floor of King's Hall there.
Yes, it's good in that.
Yeah, I'll get the fine strings.
When somebody actually points about what